Ah, Bedrock, that sleepy little one dinosaur town of my youth, and the home of the Flintstones. They're next on Cartoon Network. I bet you want to know what's coming up next on Cartoon Network, huh? It's the Flintstones! I never could keep a secret. Looky, looky, looky! Flintstones! Meet the Flintstones! They're a modern Stone Age family on the Cartoon Network. Yeah, but... Hey, what's cooking, Cartoon Network? Why, it's the Jetsons, and they're coming up next. Makes me hungry for a Martian meatball. Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's the Jetsons with Wonder Dog Astro. In the future, all dogs will be able to talk. Astro told me. On the Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's the age-old question. Who's funnier, Bugs or Daffy? You make the call on the Cartoon Network. Once upon a time, there was a rabbit. Everything was fine until along came this duck. To make a long story short, Bugs and Daffy Tonight is next on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Tom and Jerry, the cat and mouse who act like a cat and a mouse. Just imagine how bad it would be if they could speak. Tom's a nice cat. He's just fallen in with the wrong kind of crowd. Jerry brings out the very worst in him. The bad seeds are next on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Tom and Jerry. Lock up your pet hamster, your bird, and your fluffy bunny, because this cat is crazy. Just look at his eyes. He's crazy, man. You want to know what happens in your house when you're not at home? Let's just say Kitty isn't spending all his time sleeping. Tom and Jerry are next on Cartoon Network. Come on and stow away with the original High Seas cartoon. The Mariner's not so ancient, but he knows his vegetables better than anyone in the crew. Popeye, the Sailor Man, is next on Cartoon Network. Popeye's used to dealing with pirates on the high seas, but on dry land, Brutus sometimes throws him for a loop. Popeye, the Sailor Man, is next on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, Popeye and Bluto make nice and decide to open up a chain of hamburger stands together on the Cartoon Network. Coming up next, Droopy D is the man with the plan, so step off, you MC wannabes. Get down with Droopy D on the Cartoon Network. Run for the hills! Scooby-Doo, save us! Save us from the monsters of the Toon World! Oh, save us, Cartoon Network! Hey, coming up next, it's Scooby-Doo and a mystery that Angela Lansbury was too wimpy to tackle. Prepare yourself now for the Cartoon Network. You know the old saying, a dog is a man's best friend? Doesn't it seem like Shaggy and Scooby might be taking this a little bit too far? Scooby-Doo, Where Are You is next on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, we got the emissions fixed on the Mystery Machine for a whole hour of Scooby-Doo and the gang. Floor it! Hey, look what's next! Miniaturized Scooby and the gang are a perfect example of why size just doesn't matter. It's a pup named Scooby-Doo on the larger-than-life Cartoon Network. Coming up next, what happens when two kids from Milwaukee move to Beverly Hills? Who cares? The Flintstone kids are on the Cartoon Network. Will Jerry teach Tom to chase Limburger instead of him? Probably not. But stay tuned to Cartoon Network for Tom and Jerry Kids. Coming up when? Next, of course. Coming up next, the Smurfs go nuts and bust up the joint after Smuffette gets engaged to a leprechaun on the Cartoon Network. I like it, too. Coming up next, the Snork's favorite food is kelp. Kelp? They really eat kelp? Ugh. It's those gross little Snorks on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, hop into your supersonic transport with those lovable superheroes, the Shirt Tails. Beam me up, Scotty, on Cartoon Network. Set your wristwatch communicators. It's time for the Shirt Tails. If you don't have a communicator, just talk into your hand on the Cartoon Network. Over. Roger.
Coming up next, can nothing stop the villains who threaten the universe? Only the heroes of Super Adventures on the Cartoon Network. Next, from the frozen reaches of outer space come the most dynamic heroes in the universe. Super Adventures on the Cartoon Network. Coming up next, Dr. Doom. What you gonna do when the Fantastic Four are coming for you, you tin head? On the Cartoon Network. Coming up next, Thundar and Ookla the Mock have come to bring justice to Earth. It's Thundar the Barbarian on the Cartoon Network. Coming up next, get ready for battle as man fuses with machine to form the Centurions on the Power Extreme Cartoon Network.
Wow, what a deal! If you like big, green, scaly monsters from the sea, you're in luck. Godzilla's next on Cartoon Network.
What's that sound? Oh no! It's the giant scaled beast Godzilla! He'll crush us all, including the Cartoon Network! Coming up next, it's Godzilla! He ate my burrito! And he'll eat you too! Run for it! The beast is loose on the Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, transport back in time to the Valley of the Dinosaurs and see if you can survive the beasts of the Cartoon Network. Coming up next, prepare yourself for the Valley of the Dinosaurs, where humans are the hunted. It's the Cartoon Network. Coming up next, he's a chip off the old Bond, and he's making it tough for the Scumlord. It's James Bond Jr. on the Cartoon Network. Up next on Cartoon Network, it's the Incredible Hulk's dapper little brother, Captain Planet. You should see their baby sister, Scarlet. She's a vision. Humanity helping Captain Planet. Up next on Cartoon Network. Hey, Captain, could you use an extra pair of hands? I'm free later. Get ready, cats. The Radical Squadron is here to save Mega Cat City. It's the SWAT Cats next on Cartoon Network. Next on Cartoon Network. Move over, Commander Farrell. The SWAT Cats are coming through, and there's nothing you can do about it. Ah! Coming up next, there's trouble in Mega Cat City, and the SWAT Cats are suiting up for battle. It's the Cartoon Network, baby! Coming up next, spanning the globe as he searches for adventure and dodges the truant officer, it's Johnny Quest on the Cartoon Network. World travelers, adventurers, actioneers, you know where to come for the inspiration that keeps you healthy. So keep it here, because Johnny Quest is next on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, Ace Goodhart and G-Force are full flame on. So strap in and get ready for the power on the Cartoon Network.
I'm Space Ghost. The torture of having to wait for my show Cartoon Planet must be unbearable. Lucky for you, it's next on Cartoon Network.
Space Ghost here. Many people ask me what the key is to a successful TV show. Like I'm going to give up my broadcasting secrets. Cartoon Planet's next
On Cartoon Network.
Hi, I'm Space Ghost, and I'm telling you this show I have is hot. It's me and this bunch of galactic misfits. Boy, do we cut up. It's Cartoon Planet, next on Cartoon Network. I'm Space Ghost. We'll check in with our fans, do a ratings report, and some countdowns, and most importantly, I'll talk a lot. Cartoon Planet's coming up next on Cartoon Network. Space Ghost here. Call in the fun, please, because we're having too much of it. Cartoon Planet's the name of the show, and it can't be missed. Next on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, shake your heads, villains. The Power Zone crew is in full effect. Love those sights on the Bicepi Network. Coming up, more of those boss heroes and squeedly villains. Pew! You're in the Power Zone on the laser-sighted network.
The Dark Water is coming, and it's going to swallow the alien world of Myrrh, along with the Cartoon Network.
Look, up in the sky! It's a bird, a plane! No, it's Adamant, and he's atomic-powered, baby! Which means he's really hard to squish on the Cartoon Network.
There are rodents and insects in the very organs of this nation's politics.
And that's not just another nasty rumor. We know some that have been scurrying around Washington, D.C. for years. Capital Critters is up next on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next! Yeah, they're really scaly, and some have dangerous beaks, but they're nice! It's Dink and Friends on the Cartoon Network. Woohoo! Me gusta comer los hamburguesas en el baño. Hey, look, I can speak the language of the old country. It's Don Coyote on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, do not adjust your set. You are fascinating! Don Coyote is! Sure, it's sad, but it's fun to watch. It's the Cartoon Network. Coming up next on the Cartoon Network, never fear, Dynamite is here! Wait a minute, Dynamite? Oh man, we're done for. Game over, man! Coming up next, it's the dynamic duo of Ugly, Mighty Man and Yuck on the Cartoon Network. Coming up next, grab some hot fudge and a can of nuts. It's time for the Banana Splits on Cartoon Network. Don't touch that dial. Coming up next, it's the loudest band of Toondom, the Banana Splits. Ouch, that's loud, Cartoon Network. Next on the Cartoon Network, it's the Hair Bear Bunch. That's right, big, smelly, hairy bears. Who's hungry? Afros make me hungry. Coming up next, you know what I always say, there's nothing more appealing than a bear with a luscious head of hair. It's the Hair Bear Bunch on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, please, I wish I had a TV show.
You do. The Moxie Show.
Oh, yeah, right. On the Cartoon Network?
Yes.
Coming up next, it's never right to disobey posted speed limits. So when the wacky racers look like they're speeding, tell them to slow down and drive safely on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's young Robin Hood. Hey, watch where you're pointing that bow and arrow thingy. Somebody could get hurt, you know, on Cartoon Network.
Guess what's coming up next? If you said singing, dancing, bread mold, then you'd be wrong. It's a brand spanking new world premiere Toons, only on the freshest place for new Toons, Cartoon Network. It's more than an appetizer, a side order, or even your average entree. It's a full half hour of homemade Cartoon Network delicacies. World premiere Toons go family style, next on Cartoon Network. The Eiffel Tower, the Wizard of Oz, the flavored Jell-O. These are all original. Things created from unique inspiration, never to be duplicated. So is the What a Cartoon Show, and it's next. Coming up on Cartoon Network, you say it, we play it.
Captain Buzz Tiffany.
It's a world premiere tune that you requested, only on Cartoon Network. Hey, Cartoon Network, the 70s weren't so bad. Just look at mood rings, disco, and a bunch of happening tunes that you're watching during one out-of-sight 70s super explosion. Well, okay, maybe just the tunes. Go practice your bus stop, because the strobe's flashing and the disco ball's spinning. Dig? Cartoon Network boogies on down to the dance floor when the 70s super explosion continues. Hey, man, it's that dynamite 70s super explosion, and your tunes are the only network devoting an entire night of tunes to a single decade. Cartoon Network. Groovy. Hey, Cartoon Network, check me out. I can do a groovy 70s cartoon theme song, see?
Coming up next, get ready to shake your booty for 2 hours with Tuna-Palooza on the Funky Down Network. Coming up next, don't go away, the mosh pit's still churning and burning as Tuna-Palooza continues on the Cartoon Network.
Candy Graham, it's just a land shark. He won't hurt you. He's Jabberjaw, and he wants to be your Cartoon Network friend. He's made of cartilage, you know. Howdy, partners. It's Buford and the Galloping Ghost on Sunday Afternoon Mysteries, right here on the Cartoon Network. Corner, that funky phantom, not a monkey, funky. He's a funky phantom on Sunday Afternoon Mysteries on the Funky Network. Coming up next, it's the Amazing Chan and the Chan Clan on Sunday Afternoon Mysteries. Super on the Cartoon Network. Hey, look what time it is. Lose that hot malted cereal product and get a helping of morning mystery. Go on, dump it in the sink on the Cartoon Network.
Hey, Tuna Renters, soak your corn with fatty coconutty oil. Mr. Spim ain't counting calories. It's Mr. Spim's Cartoon Theater. Yahoo!
Coming up, it's the rainforest's mightiest ruler, George of the Jungle, making the world just a little better for all of us. Thank you, Cartoon Network. Thank you.
You know, it's not every day you get to see a gluttonous cat tricking his lonely heart's owner, a dunderhead dog, and his love-struck kitty friend. Well, Garfield's next on Cartoon Network.
Next up, Tasmania. You know, Taz, if you carried around a few yummy apples to munch on, maybe you wouldn't be so eager to eat your neighbors. Just a suggestion.
It's go time at the Grand Prix, and you've won the pole position. Don't lose your advantage. Push it. Speed Racer's up next on Cartoon Network. There's no time to lose, because the race is about to start. Get behind the wheel and strap in, because Speed Racer's up next on Cartoon Network.
2 pieces of advice from your old Uncle Fester. Watch the Addams Family next. And whatever you do, don't look in the closet. Oh, I love that gag.
Next on Cartoon Network is Boris and the Tasha Show. Annoying Moose and Squirrel are vacating you to... vacation.
Rocky and Bullwinkle next on Cartoon Network. Stay tuned, because Moose and Squirrel do for big fall, and their winter won't be so good either.
Next on Cartoon Network, the Rocky and Bullwinkle Show. Watch closely to learn valuable no-goodnik lessons from genuine no-goodnik.
Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Batman, Superman. This is the team that put the dream in Dream Team. The Super Friends are next on Cartoon Network.
This kind of reality could get you into trouble. The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest is next on Cartoon Network.
Hey there, Tex. Don't go anywhere, because Cartoon Network's big enough for the 2 of us. The Tex Avery Show is coming up next on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, Thundercats on Toonami. Say that with me. Toonami. Toonami. Kind of makes you feel all tingly, doesn't it? It's monumental, it's gargantuan, it's big, and it's right here on the only place you can see it. It's Wednesday, and it continues here on Cartoon Network.
Parents will want their kids to watch it, and kids will want to watch it themselves. It's true. Big Bag is coming up next on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's a crunchy and delicious super chunk with 3 solid hours of one of your favorite tunes. That's mighty tasty, Cartoon Network. Go get a yummy snack-time food, because the super chunk continues on the only network that can feed your toon hunger, Cartoon Network.
Beware, eco-villains. Coming up next, it's a super chunk of that chlorophyll-clad superhero, Captain Planet. The power is yours on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's a super chunk of that father and son dog team, Droopy and Dripple.
Oh, dear. It's Cartoon Network.
Let's say your sink started leaking and your plumber was busy. Who would you call? Well, why not these folks? The Fantastic Four Super Chunk will continue.